Saturday Mind Muscle Connection, episode 32. Today we're going to talk about, well, first off, before I start that, starting with this one and the old ones I'll post too, is going to be a new YouTube channel just for that we're putting this podcast on. So starting this one, I'll put on there. So when you guys, if you follow this, you need to follow that new channel as well. I'm sure we'll put up other content as well. Today's episode we're talking about is, of course, all of us, as we get older, we always look back and say, we wish we did this, wish we did that. And honestly, I could tell you numerous stories where somebody older than me told me something was going to happen. I didn't listen, and it come and bit me in the ass. And that's right. One of the ways we learn is through trial and error and being stubborn and learning the hard way. But I know for those who want advice and want to listen, so the younger group out there, we are going to give some of that advice to teenagers, younger guys growing up that have ambitions to be something, to give some advice on what to look out for and how to get around problems that arise so that they can get to a higher level quicker than most would. So Dibs, I'll let you start off with this one today.
So my message, I want to direct it to basically between the ages of 15, 16 years old to 28. 27, 28. All right, it's almost a decade, 10-year period. And I think this is a very crucial period of your life between 16 and let's say 26. All right. So if you're between this is a message for you. If you're 25, it's not too late. If you're 16, it's not too early. It's a message for you guys because this decade is when you're going to separate yourself from everybody else. And that separation period that you're going to go through is going to merely mess with you because it's not what everybody else is knowing. And this is something we've talked about in tons of previous podcasts because we all deal with it at all ages. But if you really want to separate yourself, this is where it's going to happen. So the first thing I'm going to say, especially to the guys, this is the very first message. These hoes ain't going nowhere, bro. All right. These girls ain't going nowhere. Listen, I have done the party life. I've done the drinking life. I did it. I lived it. I'll send you pictures of me at the Jersey Shore. They are there every Thursday, every Friday, and every Saturday for the rest of your life. The same ones every weekend. All right. Stop chasing that. Stop chasing that ridiculous fix of, oh my God, I got the hottest girl in here. Nobody gives a fuck. Maybe you do, but no one does. You may get some thumbs up from your friends in the moment, but at the end of the day, when tomorrow, dude, you're not gonna believe who I hooked up with. No one gives a fuck. All right. You got a lot of work to do, man. If you are playing sports, if you're in school, you should be home studying. I know I sound like a fucking dad right now because I'm 34, but as somebody who lived it and as an actual bodybuilding champion and as a college degree, right? I spent so much time focusing on that I could have been way ahead of the game. I could have been in the Olympia already, and I'm not because I was too busy worrying about what fix I can get next. This was my life for 6 years, guys, between 2006 to 2014. All right. So that's 8-year window. It was work, Friday night, bar, party, Saturday night, bar, party, Sunday, recover, do it again. I'd work out in the morning so I don't get fat. I would run. I used to run marathons and stuff at the time. And in the Navy, I was a rescue swimmer. So all that cardio kept me kind of skinny. I was still chubby, you know what I mean? Because of all the drinking, partying, but it didn't get me anywhere. It got me nowhere. I got nothing out of it. I got some good memories, but you can recreate those good memories with non-alcohol. I don't drink at all. And I go out now. I go to the Playboy Mansion with the most gorgeous girl in there till 2 a.m, completely sober and having the time of my life. If you could accomplish that, you could separate yourself from everybody else. And I promise you, people will respect you for making the right decision.
Yeah, no, well said. Well said. I think my take on this is you have to remember that there's things in life that will come your way and you'll think to yourself, okay, I wish I could have this. I wish I could have this. I wish I could have that. See, wishing for something doesn't necessarily mean it's good for you, right? And you look at it from a surface standpoint, you're going to ask and think, okay, this is something I could have. But then the question I want you to ask yourself is, do I really need that? So for example, like Dib said, you go to a party and you start caring about the things that aren't really important. Well, that's our opinion, aren't really important. Like you start caring about the women, you start caring about getting laid and shit. Ask yourself this question: do I really need it right now? What is more important for me right now? What am I working towards right now? What are the goals and steps I need to do to get to where I want to be? Because I'm pretty sure, and I'm not generalizing on this, I'm pretty sure there's probably at least 60 to 70 kids out of 100 kids that have dreams and aspirations. Now, I know there's certain countries where that number could be lower because I've been to those countries, like in Japan. The vision and dream level is very low. Like a lot of these kids in Asian countries don't really have concrete dreams and visions. They'll have an idea, but they still don't know what they want. That's a whole other ballgame. It's a whole other story. I'm talking about the kids in North America. A lot of the kids have dreams and aspirations. You come out of school, you have an idea of what you want to do, right? And it's your idea. It's your spark. It's your dream. It's no one else's. So remember that. Like, understand what it takes, right? Because that's the time, that's the crucial time that's going to set your life going forward. Because you don't act then. I'm telling you this out of experience because I've gone through that shit. I'm pretty sure Dibs and Jed can relate to this. I made mistakes in my past I wish I could erase. My childhood, I wish I could erase that shit. I wish I could erase being a recluse. I wish I could erase chasing after the wrong things, like smoking and drinking and fucking eating like a pig, right? Because I loved food back then. I was a chubby kid back then. And then I got skinny. But point is, I was focusing on the wrong shit. I had a dream, I had a vision, but I was just operating on default. And that's not where you want to be. What's your take on that, Jed?
Well, first off, I don't think it's an opinion. I think it's a fact. Those things are not good for you. They're not good to chase. All right. They're at the time you think they are because you think it's going to increase your status to get laid or be with somebody or to go out drinking. But at the end, you end up being in the same pool with everybody else who ain't doing a goddamn thing with their life. We've said this many times before. If you want to rise above everybody, you got to break yourself off. You got to do things different no matter what age you are. When it comes to chasing women, if you focus and do your thing, somebody will come along. But when you go after them, you end up settling for something to think you've won, and it never works out. And usually you have to sacrifice too much of who you are just to get somebody, and it ends up not working out. Or you're going through life not being happy. So why do it that way? What is it? What in your life is going to be different if you have somebody that's you settle for in your life because it's not what you want. You usually, from what I've seen and experienced, if you just go on about yourself and get the goals you're really striving to achieve, the right person will come along. And for you guys that are younger and you meet somebody, like, oh, this is the one. Think of how many times you said it. You probably said that 2 or 3 times, which means they aren't the fucking one. Which it means they are not the fucking one. I've said that probably 3 or 4 times in my life, and now I'm looking back like they weren't the one. And the fact that you can say it more than once proves that.
Yeah.
They are, and let's say you spend your life trying to find someone, and you do. Well, what do you have to offer? You have done nothing with yourself, so now you're not an asset to the relationship. You're depending because you have nothing to give because you spent your whole time chasing after somebody. You're not anybody to provide this. It's a teamwork thing. And if you spend your whole time going after someone and not building on yourself, what do you have to offer? I do think that's part of women see this. So if you go chasing too hard and you're not focusing on yourself, like they're like, okay, well, what if I let him in? What's he got? He's just a guy who chases women. He's not a businessman. He's not a bodybuilder. He's not aspiring for a career. There's nothing. I mean, he's cute. He can fuck good, but like he's got nothing because he's spending his time chasing someone. So this is something you guys need to consider, because once you do find him, what the fuck do you have to offer? Nothing, because you spent your time skirt chasing the whole time instead of building yourself and being the one who people are attracted to instead of you being attracted to everybody else. You got to turn the fucking tables. Like build something out of yourself. Let somebody come after you for once instead of wasting your fucking time going after somebody who's probably not going to give 2 shits. Now, as far as the looking back on the mistakes and stuff, I'm glad I made every fucking one of them because I wouldn't be who I am today if I wouldn't have made them.
Mm-hmm.
So I would not take them back. As bad as they hurt and as bad as I still get embarrassed thinking about some of the shit I've done today. But doing that has made me who I am and pushing me forward. Without those mistakes, I probably would not be pushing as hard as I do today. And I would probably end up making them in the future when it's too late to make any difference out of it.
Yeah.
Next advice I want to give to be able to give teenagers or in your 20s is, don't accept temporary satisfaction to get you away from your bigger goal. And I think that's the big thing that we're kind of talking about here is, a lot of temporary satisfaction is going to be the parties. A lot of the temporary satisfaction is going to be laziness. Comfort, I think, is the worst temporary satisfaction that there is because there's no growth in that.
It's a drug.
There's no growth in being comfortable. And I've been listening to Outwitting the Devil, which is hands down the second best book I've ever read. Winning is the first, but I actually can't get more than 6 pages in without being mind blown.
No shit.
Yeah. And this, I recommend every teenager reading this book. Imagine if people don't know what Outwitting the Devil is. Imagine Joe Rogan doing a podcast with the devil. That's Outwitting the Devil. That's exactly what it is. And basically it's the devil telling you like how he gets into your mind. And the worst thing you could be in this world is a drifter, right? So, I like to call them coolers. All right. Those are and if you fall into this, we're here to help you to get out of it. If you wake up, you go to work, you work 9 to 5, you come home, you sit in traffic, you watch television, you get up tomorrow, you go back to work your 8 hours, come back. And then on the weekend, you go watch the ball game and you're not really working towards something. You're just accepting what life has to give you. You're a drifter, right? You take no control of your mind, no circumstances. And I was a drifter for many years. These were the cards I was dealt. I'm short. I'm 5'6". This is the limiting belief that I have. I'm only this smart. I didn't do well in high school. So this is the limiting belief that I have. I can't go to college. And basically, and this could come from your parents. It can come from a lot. You would just accept whatever life has to give you. And let me tell you something, that's bullshit. That's just bullshit. That's just something you're telling yourself so you don't have to actually put the work in or find it. Look, I failed algebra. I went to summer school multiple times, but I have a bachelor's degree right now. I'm certified in NLP, 2 fitness certifications and nutrition certification, and I'm a computer tech. Don't let school dictate what you're going to become, because that's what they'll do. School, and I've heard this time and time again, you got to go to college to get a job, right? Start your own fucking job, So I could say, don't let those temporary satisfactions that you get dismay you from the bigger picture of what you want to do.
I'm going to pour my heart out on this podcast for the kids. They need to listen to this because this is some real shit. And I'm going to play the role of the big brother, not the daddy. I'm going to do the big brother role. Because here's the thing, okay? I'm going back to what Jed was talking about, chasing after women. That's what I was doing when I was younger, in my 20s, early 20s. That's what I was doing. You know where it got me? I ended up in a very shitty marriage for 4 years. Well, actually, this whole relationship was for 8 years. So 4 years of dating, not going anywhere, and 4 years of sexlessness. I'm not even joking about that. There was not even one session in the bedroom with the ex-wife. And it was so shit because we had a kid. And now my kid's with the mom, right, in Japan. And that's, I don't want to get into that whole thing. But what I'm trying to illustrate here is if you settle, oh, she's the one for that, she's the one theory. Oh, she's the one. Well, while you're still young and you still have the potential to grow and develop, well, you know what's going to happen? You're going to discover at the end of that journey that she wasn't the one. I experienced that firsthand. I knew exactly what it felt like. I knew exactly what I was doing, but I still did it anyway. That's getting into really, really nasty habits. spending bucket loads of money on nothing but booze and partying just so I could get away from the ex-wife and not see her face when I come back home. That's how bad it was. So that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. And I'm going back to what Jed was also saying, referencing the fact that I wish I could erase some of the mistakes that I made. Well, part of me says, yes, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for my mistakes. But, to keep things kind of real and kind of true to myself, I would say that part of me, so it's kind of half and half. Part of me wishes I could erase that past, but the other half of me says, well, you know what? Exactly what Jed said. I wish if I didn't go through those things, I wouldn't be here sitting and talking to you guys. Right? So understand that reality is hard. It's not all partying and drinking. It's hard. It's hard shit. It's not easy, but you know what? If you remember that your goals are more important, your life, your dreams and aspirations are more important, that'll get you further than where you need to be. I rest my case in that sense.
Yeah, anything?
We have a lot of things to escape reality from, and that's part of the problem. We didn't have a lot of this stuff 10, 20 years ago, but now it's so easy to get into a fake world, either through TV or online through the media, because we've been programmed to be one of the crowd and we need acceptance. And so we get into this scrolling through this artificial world that takes us away from reality, to where, like we've said before, how you see the results, you don't see the journey, how you can post a picture with your side tit hanging out and you get some likes and all of a sudden you think you're the baddest bitch on the block when you're not. And it takes you away from reality. It makes you think you're somebody when really you're still living with your parents, not going anywhere, because you got that currency, this currency right here. You think you're somebody. And I think people need a fucking wake up call.
So how do we do this? How do we do this? So I don't want to just say, you guys need to do this, you guys need to do that. You guys need to stop doing this without giving you actual practical advice. I learned that from a great teacher of mine. A lot of motivational speakers, the biggest problem that I have with them is they don't ever give you a how-to or anything, any steps that you can actually do. And Tim Grover, as much as I love him as a mentor, he goes, I don't need to give you steps to figure out for yourself. Well, I don't like to do that. I like to give something that you can do, right? You do have to figure this out on your own, but there are, I think, certain steps that you can follow as a foundation to get you to the next one. Structure, right?
Yeah.
So the first thing I would say, the two things that I have, and this is coming from looking at very highly successful people. I spend an hour a day while I'm at work, and I listen to Kobe, I listen to Michael Jackson, I listen to Eminem, I listen to really successful people. And what I notice is that they have the right habits. They're in routines. Right? A lot of people don't like routines, but if you're in a routine to get the same result, that to me is success. So the definition of insanity is do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, right? But if you do the same thing over and over again, expect the same result, that to me is definition of a step towards success. So creating the right habits. So first of all, are you in the gym, right? I'm a gym rat. You don't need to be a bodybuilder. You can do CrossFit. You can be a runner. But if you are between the ages of 16 to 26, you need to be working out 3-4 days a week. Yep. You have the time. Don't give me I don't have time bullshit. You do have the time. You're going to make time for it. 1 hour a day to train. Okay. When you can push yourself like that in the gym, when I was a partier, right, I still kept my routine. This is how I knew I was different. Is I'd get up at 4 a.m. and I'd run 4 miles, I'd swim a mile, and I would run back. Right. So it was run, swim, run pretty much 2 days a week, or I'd get up and go to the pool and swim on an empty stomach. That kept me kind of lean, but also disciplined me and set the day off well. Always set the day off well. So work on your own time, create the right habits. Right. So gym, a little bit of study time. I myself am starting to read 20 pages of book every day. I haven't gotten to the habit yet, but I'm getting into the habit, creating the right habits. You can create the wrong habits like I did, drinking on Friday, watch a football game, beers and wings on Sunday. You create those wrong habits, you're going to get the wrong results. It's going to pull you away. You got to create the right habits and the right routines. And that will hypnotically will get you going. It's the right thing. So story, I am good friends with the #1 piano player in the world. Her name is Karolina Szczerkowicki, right, from Poland. I watched her play piano for an hour and a half straight without missing a note. She used to spend Fridays and Saturdays just going over and over and over again, mistake. But her habit and her routine was every weekend, Friday night, 4 hours, working on that routine, working on her music. She goes and plays in front of the biggest people like it's nothing. She built the right routines. And second step I want to give you is having the right attitude. All right. As Jed said last week, I got to pose down with the number 6 bodybuilder in the world. Huge fan of him, Alex Carbonaro. It's number 4, 2 years in the world. The attitude was this: I get to compete against this guy. I get to bring it to him. If I lose, now I know what I need. What would be a wrong attitude? Why the hell is this guy doing the show? He's already 4th in the world. He's just trying to make money. The judges are going to have him win anyway, so I might as well show up. Your attitude is going to define your success. Attitude and habits, those are the 2 steps that I will willing to give you guys around the spot. They're going to separate you from everybody else.
Yeah, my 2 habits are keep a journal. Number 1, keep a journal. I'll tell you why it's important. Whatever you're doing, whether it's hitting the gym, whatever routine you've set for yourself, it's important to keep track of it. Because you know what? You're actually going to be able to keep track of your progress. That's important. You want to know how far you've gone when let's say you go in 5 years with the same habits that you've developed, the positive habits that you've developed. In those 5 years, you look back at your journal, you're going to see a huge difference. You're going to be able to measure how far you've actually come, right? So keep a journal. It's very important to keep a journal. Number 2 is just kind of elaborating on what Dibbs was talking about. Model successful people. Like there's a system and a technique that we like to use. It's called modeling. What it is look at a successful person. It doesn't matter who it is, Gary Vee, Branson, it doesn't matter. Look at those people and actually study them. Read about them. What are they doing? What do they do when they post on Instagram? What kind of posts are they posting on Instagram? What kind of products they're releasing? What are their habits in terms of developing successful platforms? Look at those things, because you know what? That'll give you an idea of what you can do with your life. Well, not exactly, but in a similar fashion, right? This is where modeling is huge. I've done that, which is how I've gotten to where I am today in terms of being a coach. I modeled Tony Robbins, right? Anthony Robbins. I modeled that guy. And I actually saw his habits. I saw how he was operating, how he was talking, how he was addressing the crowd. What does he do? Well, I don't know what he does on a daily basis, but I kind of have an idea just reading about him. And this is where reading also comes in handy, because you can read about these people. You can see what they're doing successfully to form those successful habits, right? So those are my 2. Keep a journal and modeling.
And you don't have to read, man. You can just sit in YouTube when you're driving to work. Listen to Eminem and the shit he did when he was down and out and beaten down, like how he used to write rhymes in between work shifts, that those are the type of habits and the type of people that I love Eminem. I'm a huge Eminem fan, as you guys know. Those are the type of habits we need to acquire. Listen to the greats.
Yeah.
Good thing about getting into a routine, I say this to all the people I train and in my videos and stuff, is you're a product of your lifestyle. What you do during the day determines who you are. If you're in some sort of a routine and you don't like what you see, all you have to do is change something. What I mean by that is people will all of a sudden say, I want to go on a diet, and they have to change all this shit. They have to get on a diet, go to the gym, get a membership. But if you're already in a routine for that and you're not exactly going how you want to go, you just tweak something. It's that simple. So if you're already in habits and a routine that's going kind of towards what you're trying to be, it's easier to make small changes here and there. But guys, when you're like couch potatoing, you're trying to go from that to being a competitor, it's like you got to change so much, it's going to hit you at a shock. And you're just going to be like, what the fuck? And most people are going to quit just from the overload of doing all that stuff. So what I'm trying to get across is you guys need to get in some sort of structured routine, kind of geared towards something you like or interested in or want to do something, instead of just the normal, what everybody else is doing, partying, drinking, women bullshit, because you're not going to get anywhere with that.
And give it a chance to work too, man. You're not going to see results after 28 days. Sorry, my football game is on. You're not going to see results after 20 a week, 28 a month. Most people do something for a month and they move on. They don't see results. Things take years.
Yeah.
I went on NBC News last night and I was looking at bodybuilders competing in 2012. I'm still competing against them today when they were amateurs. Now we're competing at the pro level. You got to think of how many times I just did that just because that guy Alex, I wanted to see what he looked like. When did he start? How long did it take him to get 6th in the world to just blow me out? The guy was a national. He was getting his ass kicked in nationals in 2012. It took him 10 years to just walk into shows and just win it. Some people, there's a handful, there's 1% that can just win all the way through. But let me tell you something, they don't make it very far. They don't, because they don't know what it's like to lose. They don't know what it's like to go to a dark place. They don't know what it's like to have to suffer. And, when I'm being in the military, you have to work 12 hours of watch. Then I have to do at night. So I would work, a night shift, or I would be up 24 hours, still go train legs, because I knew that that little bit of suffering would be worth in the long end, and it would help me mentally. So creating the right habits and separating yourself from the fucking pack. And this is going to be the hardest one for all you guys, man. This is going to be, I'm in the Navy are partiers. So when we would hit port, everybody, first thing they want to do is go party, go drink. I would find the nearest gym to go train. Or I would train. And then the next day, when everyone's hungover and drunk, I would train on the ship and have the whole gym to myself. So I had to get up at 4:30 because I knew no one was going to be up there at 4:30. And I would have the whole gym to myself and train for an hour. No music, because we could have it for emergencies, 40 degrees, and have the best workouts. That there is separating yourself from the pack. Don't give me this. Being realistic is just a fancy way of saying pessimism, right? Mm-hmm. Well, realistically speaking, I can't do that. No, realistically is just you being negative, right? Have a positive output towards what you can accomplish. Because once you start being realistic, then you're just going to be like everybody else.
Realistically, you can get your ass to the gym. That's realistic. Fucking.
Yeah. Realistically, you can stay home on Friday night and study for 3 hours. And for the record, guys, I'm not saying don't have a good time. I'm saying enjoy your 20s, but be responsible. Manage your focus.
Be accountable. Yes. I think that's the key word here, is to be accountable. I want to talk about accountability, actually, because it's very, very important. But before that, Jed, did you remember I mentioned something called micro paradigm shifts in an earlier episode? Because you spoke about routines and changing them up and switching them up. I think this might be relevant here. There's a technique that I employed and I use with some of the clients that I deal with. It's called micro paradigm shifts. Essentially, what you do is, if you find that your routine is just too boring for you, you can actually write it down sequentially. So write it down, itemize it, right? 6 o'clock in the morning, I get up, or whatever time you get up. I go do this. I do my work in the washroom. I come out, make my breakfast, go to work, whatever it is. I go to school or whatever it is that you do. Look at that entire routine, okay? And change one item, one line item. That's all it takes. Because you know what that's going to do? That's going to create a cascade effect. It's going to create a domino effect. Because if you change that one item, it's going to affect the next item and the next and the next and the next. So for example, if you tell yourself, I go to the gym for like 30 minutes every evening, right? At 7 o'clock, come back from school or whatever. Whatever it is that you do, 7 o'clock, I go to the gym for about 30 minutes. Switch that up. Make it an hour, right? Make it 45 minutes. So what happens is now your entire routine will potentially change, because you're spending more time in the gym. Now you're going to get home a little later than you usually do. So now you can do something else. You see what I'm talking about? So it's like changing one item and creating a domino effect to change up your routine. And you can follow that new routine for a week and see how you do with that. If you don't like it, you bring it back to the drawing board, switch it up again, right? Now let's talk about accountability. It's very important to understand that whatever you do has consequences. Whatever choice you make, right? Whether it's partying or drinking, it's going to have consequences. You drink, guess what? You're going to get hungover, right? Next day. And if you're hungover, Now you got to worry about trying to get rid of the hangover. You have to worry about the headache. You got to worry about the messed up appetite, the food that you're going to put into your body to curb that hangover, to cure the hangover, all that shit. If you go out and smoke a whole bunch of cigarettes, whatever it is that you smoke, guess what? You're going to have to deal with the consequences. Everything you do has consequences. But if you change up your habits, you develop positive habits, you develop really, really good habits. You can be accountable for them because the consequences will actually end up becoming more positive. See what I'm saying here?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's what I want to illustrate and highlight. Maybe you guys can expand on that if you want to, but it's just something I'm a stickler for. Accountability is something I'm a stickler for. Right.
This goes back to the playing victim thing, how everybody blames everybody else for their downfall, but yet it's shit they do or didn't do. It's like, oh, why me? This always happens to me. It's like, well, you could have done A, B, and C and could have prevented that. Or the first time it happened, you could have analyzed the situation and took preventive measures for the next one and fixed it from happening again in the future. But instead, you cried like a bitch about it and played victim. So that's also what people understand is like there's quite a few people I've seen that they never accept accountability. They always blame something else.
Yes.
And that really pisses me off because people have the power, Jesus sounds to change and do whatever they want. If somebody did something that screwed you over, but I'm sure along down the road, you knew they were a bad person, but you kept hanging out with them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the chicken or the fucking egg? Which one is it? It's you could have prevented this if you listened to your gut, stayed away from this person, then that wouldn't have happened. But you did. It could have been something as little as because you want acceptance and this person likes you, whatever. I mean, there's tons of things. Like in the end, you always, instead of looking at why the world's outing to get you, which is one of the biggest faults I used to have, you need to look at what could I have done to fix this? Even if it's outside your power, at least think of what could I have done? And you're already thinking in a better direction.
Yeah. Well, this also, there's a word that gets thrown around a lot when people start talking about accountability, they start talking about responsibility, but they don't understand what it actually means. Here's how I like to look at responsibility. It's response ability. I'm breaking it down into two words. The ability to respond. That's what responsibility is. So if you have the ability to respond to something that's not good for you, do it. Because in the long run, it's going to do you much good. Because if you don't respond to it on the onset, like when the problem actually happens, well, you're going to fuck yourself up. Right? So be responsible. When I say be responsible, have the ability to respond early, not later.
I agree with that. That fucking rooster.
fucking Hawaii, dude. Hawaiian
fucking rooster, man.
He's about to get the boot. I've been gone for a month, so
he misses you.
Yeah, the roosters think they can. They pay rent now. I'm about to throw a boot at him.
Back. Let's do it.
So yeah, that accountability and responsibility. I think of the military term. A true leader takes accountability. If you're a leader and you want to be a leader, you need to take accountability for everything. You need to take, even if it's not your fault. If you see somebody driving a friend home who's drunk, and they're drunk too, and you don't do anything about it, you take accountability for that because you could have stopped that. And that's a big thing I do. Especially because I don't drink, and a lot of people respect me for that. Like when I go out to a party and they're like, "Yay, I had 4 people buy me shots last weekend. I had fucking people buying me drinks. I don't drink. Once you set that standard, they immediately look at you as a leader. Like, man, this guy is not falling by peer pressure. He's not one of us. I mean, he's not one of us, but he's not falling into the trap. Like, how are you having fun? Like, I'm having the time of my life. Mm-hmm. If you constantly feel that way, you don't need the alcohol. But now it's your responsibility to make sure everybody gets home okay. This is where leadership comes in. And these leadership skills are going to carry you on through your life, through your business. You see that girl who's incoherent and the guys are hitting on her, your job to step in and stop. You see that guy about to drive home drunk, you grab his keys and stop. It's funny because I know a lot of chiefs and senior chiefs now that have blown through the ranks and I haven't. And they, sorry, I'm fasting right now, so my mind's a little off, right? And I have stopped them from making the driving home drunk many a times. I've pulled their keys. I've actually got to a fight with, he was an E6 at the time, in E8 now. I actually punched him out, tied him up so he would not drive drunk home. And he would thank me for it the next day.
That's some Navy shit.
That's some
Navy SEAL shit, man.
That's some stuff you may see him in the military. But
that's the NCIS stuff, dude.
But that type of respect, and that, you know what, people, when they see you making those decisions, they see you stepping in, stopping the fights, they see you protecting the girl. You have earned the respect of everybody in there, and you now, when your walk in the world is different. Your vibration, which we've talked about before, is going to be different. Because you're different. You separate yourself from the pack. When you go home at midnight, hey, I got to be up early to go to the gym. Hey, I'm not saying don't go to a party, man. I'm not saying don't go to a party. I'm just saying, look, bro, if it's 12 o'clock at night and you ain't got no fucking hose on you, go home. You ain't going to find them at 1. You're not going to find them at 2. You're not going to find them at 3. You're not.
God, if you do, I couldn't imagine the standard it would be.
You know what I mean? I am saying you're a college kid. You're 21 years old. You're having fun. You're not drinking. You're drinking your Diet Coke, and it's like, 1:30 in the morning, and your boys got some girls. Yeah, you don't have fun. You know what I mean? I don't want to misconstrue this by some
exactly.
You don't have fun. I would have done it. I just would have done it way more responsibly back then.
Yes.
I would have not have drank, maybe a little bit. I would have cut myself off. I would have gone to bed earlier. There were and I'm not saying the days I had fun. I'm saying the days that I specifically said, I'm not drinking tonight. I do not want to drink tonight. I end up doing it anyway. Those are the types of things that I want you to stay away from.
And we're not saying, don't date. I mean, hell, fucking date. I mean, it's part of life, right? You want to experience women. You want to experience that passion, compassion. Yeah, for sure. What I am saying is, and what Dibs is saying, what Jez is saying, be responsible. Don't chase after the girls. Focus on what you have to do, and you will develop attractive qualities anyway, because you're potentially changing how you see the world when you develop your goals and you ride your passions out and you improve on who you are. The women are going to see that. As Dib says, you're going to actually show them you're a leader, you're capable, you're responsible, you're being accountable, and they'll fucking love that. I used to be a dating coach. Dibs knows this about me. We have that other group where I coach guys on how to talk to women and how to communicate to women. One of the things I really, really emphasize on in that group, or I used to emphasize on, not there anymore, is focus on what's happening internally to you before you start caring about the outside. Because if you start looking for validation from other people, that's the other point I want to make.
Yes.
Don't do shit for other people. Don't tell yourself, oh, I want to get this girl because that guy has that girl. Oh, I want to go to this party because my friends are going to that party. Nah. You have the ability to make your own choices. Make them for yourself, not for anybody else. If you feel like you're missing out, you go through that whole FOMO phase. Oh, fear of missing out. Well, think again. What is it that matters to you? I'm re-emphasizing this point, right? My conscious choice right now, I'll give myself as an example. My conscious choice right now is I'm training to compete next year. So knowing myself, I used to be a night owl. I used to love going out to bars and partying. And even though I don't drink alcohol, I still had fun. I still enjoyed the night. I'd still be out with my friends up until 2:00 in the morning, coming home, re-energizing myself, and the next morning to go out and party again. I was that guy, right? I'd fucking go and dance on the dance floor, twerk my ass off, come back home, right? I was that guy. But now I'm making a conscious choice because why? I'm doing it for myself, no one else. That's important.
Don't quit, guys. Don't quit what you're working on, man. If you love your wrestling, don't quit. Keep going. Look, there's been times. Look, you know what? Here's another fact. If what you're working on, at some point, you're going to want to quit. If you're working on something seriously, you're going to want to give up. You're going to want to throw in the towel, and you're going to want to be like everybody else. If you're spending your Friday night, I spend my Friday nights meal prepping. You know what I mean? So if you're spending your Friday night studying because you want to get to that college and you see on Instagram all your friends having fun, I promise you're not missing out. You're going to want to quit and say, I want to go out. I promise you are not missing out, right? Go there. Go next time you're at a fucking bar or club, go there. I'm going to tell you exactly what you're going to see. You're going to see all the kind of couples together, a lot of loud music with drunk people, and 80% of people are going to be doing this in the corner.
Yep. Or this.
Sit, or sipping their drink. They're going to have a couple hot girls, take some pictures, post them on Instagram, then they're going back to being the girl. That is it. That's all clubbing is, guys.
Yep.
I lived it. I loved it, actually. I'm a Jersey. I'm a Guido. I'm from fucking Jersey Shore, bro. Like, come on. I'm being realistic with you guys, right? This should be the fucking, should title this the Confessions of a Guido. You know what I mean? GTL lifestyle. I lived it. I love it. But going back,
Hollywood life.
Would have done it differently. Not saying don't do it. We're just saying be responsible, make mistakes, learn from them. And it is really important for you young guys. Like, man, if I was bodybuilding when I was 21, I'd be in the Olympia. I'd probably be a top fiver already. But what was I doing? I was buying a motorcycle to impress this fucking model in New York. That's the only reason I got it. And I was riding around. I didn't want a motorcycle. I just saw all my friends got them. The girl go, oh my God, they got motorcycles? A week later, there I am. Got my motorcycle. Got a whole 1,000 miles on it before I sold it. Dumb decision. Because why? I was chasing the wrong things. If I was now, at the time I was doing CrossFit. If I committed more to CrossFit, maybe would have done the CrossFit Games. My life would have taken a different path. I'm happy I got my shit together when I discovered bodybuilding and I discovered the right people. When I got into the gym and I saw Friday night a bunch of people working out, I'm like, holy shit, people do this? And then I find out that champion athletes are doing this. And the guy that won, he comes in at 9:00 at night. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, wait a minute. I want to be that. I want to be the champion. I want to be the business owner making $1 million a year. Why can't that be me? You know what I mean? Like, why can't that be you? Why? Because I didn't do well in algebra? Fuck your teacher. Seriously, fuck your teacher, dude. Yep. I'm so fucking sick of teachers. Teachers dictate, and when you're young, you think your teacher is this fucking scholar. And I'm kind of calling out teachers right now, but what do you think when you're in middle school, high school? You think like there's these highly educated people with chalkboards at their home. No, they're people, bro. Most of them are people hey, I hate to say it, I'm spitting the truth. I don't give a fuck if you like it or not. Most of them are teachers because they couldn't do anything else. Those who can do, those who not teach, right? There's a difference. We're asking you to do. Your teachers do not dictate where you're going to end up. I'm a little salty about that because I had to go to summer school in 8th grade.
Yeah.
I had to go to summer school in 8th grade because I was a fucking kid and I was sloppy about shit. And I didn't want to read fucking A Tale of Two Cities. I told the bitch, I'll give you A Tale of Two fucking cities. Fucking tell. What do you think of The Great Gatsby there, Domenick? The Great Gatsby? It was great.
Oh, you are incredible. Well, amen, brother. Fucking preach, because that's how I feel too about teachers. I had some really fucking horrible teachers. I had this guy. Turns out he was actually sexually harassing all of the girls after school.
There's a no one.
He was a French teacher, and he was so explicit with his shit. Like he would drop the innuendos during French class. He would fucking like, oh, you stepped on le sausage. And the fucking kids would just lose it. The girl was in the cupboard. I was like, I can't do the accent. But you know what I'm saying is like this guy was like the opposite of what you would idolize a teacher to be. And that's what we're trying to illustrate here is like reality is so different from what you expect it to be when you get into this shit. I'm not saying school isn't bad. School is good, but the type of schools that we go to currently are shit. I'm saying it. I don't care who wants to fight me on this. I'm saying it. The schools right now are shit. This type of stuff that they teach is shit.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna play the other end of the spectrum right now, real quick. Right. So we talked about safety, make the right decisions, but I also step things up a little bit while you're young. This is more for the teenage years. Like push the envelope a little bit. I was really big at this when I was younger. I still am. I like pushing the envelope as far as I can. Like, if you got a crush on the cheerleader in high school, go ask her out, man. Trust me, in 15 years from now, she ain't gonna give a fuck. Go ask her out, even if she has a boyfriend. Go talk to her. You know what I mean? Like these are things that you need to experience. You need to experience that disgusting rejection, or you need to experience that, happy success that you may get. You may be like, oh my God, I didn't even talk. Go out with the boys. The time with the boys. I like speaking a lot on men is extremely important. Go out with the men on a weekend trip. Go out with the boys, your high school buddies. They're gonna, I'm not saying you got to be alone and hound in your room, but go on that fucking weekend trip to wherever it is you want to go to. Save the money. Just be responsible with your decisions, because these are memories that you'll have forever. I got memories with the boys that we still talk about. I wrote about it in my book, First Call Outs. Those are the memories that you'll have forever. I'm still really close. I talked to him last night, my high school wrestling partner for 4 years. He just had his kid. And, we used to do the dumbest stuff when we were in high school, and we were younger. And that did bring us closer. But what really brought us closer was being wrestling partners, having each other's backs, being there to watch our wins and losses. I watched his big win in 2005, so make sure you make your time manage your focus, make sure you're giving 100% when you're studying, you're giving 100% in your sports, but also give time to be with the boys and your friends, because they can be lifelong companions.
Yeah. I think that's important. What do you think, Jed?
I don't know. I do believe that people need to challenge themselves. They need to push it. I've got a few instances where I've done that, and where especially if people tell me I can't do something, that kind of pisses me off, and then I want to push it, even if I know I can't. I'm like, I'm still gonna do it, and if it takes my whole life. But there's quite a few times I've been told I've not been able to do something, and I've done it. So as far as pushing the envelope or having to go extra mile or something, I never have a problem with that. As far as hanging out with people, I think I've done so much of that growing up that I enjoy being alone now. Even when I go on trips, I'll just go by myself. I used to have this thing where I couldn't go out somewhere unless I was with someone, just because I thought it'd be weird to be somewhere by myself, like going to eat or go to a movie or something. But I've made a point to. It sounds stupid, but it is kind of a thing I needed to defeat, because, for instance, you go out, we just want to see a movie. You ask a female friend to go, and then next thing you know, she starts suspecting things. You're like, no, I just want to go see this. Then you got all this drama you got to deal with. It could lead to that. I'm like, fuck this. So I've made a challenge to just go do things by myself, and I actually enjoy it, because I had a fear of being alone. And here this past year, I've made an effort to defeat that, going to rallies, going to movies, things by myself. And I ended up running into people I know, or if I don't, I just go do whatever. But I think for me, it was a huge step to go do things by myself, because it's I don't know if it's a confidence thing or what it was, but I've gotten over it and I enjoy it now. I don't get the anxiety, and I don't get I can't do this feeling when I go somewhere alone anymore. I don't really mend well with a lot of people either. I'm always different, weird to them and shit. So going out on big trips and stuff, I'm kind of iffy, because, short term we get along, but eventually I know there's going to be something where it's like, I don't know. It's just, I don't mesh well with people over a long term. For like a weekend with guys and stuff, I don't know if I would do well. I mean, I'd get through it. I'd be fine. I have a good time. At the same time, like, man, I fucking wish I'd rather be doing this. Or they want to do some dumb shit. I'm like, I don't want to fucking do that. So I'm always thinking of how to move forward. And there's very little people that I mesh well with in the long term, honestly, that I can, physically hang out and be around all the time. There's very few people I can be like that with, just because I'm very different.
And that's all you need, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's the same for my case. I have a handful of friends that I can actually count on my fingers, because that's all I need. I have you guys and I have some other buddies out here, but that's about it. I don't need a whole plethora of friends running my Facebook, Instagram, checking on what I'm doing and validating my shit by liking everything. I don't care about that shit. All I care about
is better than 100 pennies.
Exactly. Exactly. There's those handful of people I know for a fact, 100%, they got my back. Support and perseverance, and they will push me. Like you guys push me. I know Dibs pushes me. You know, he keeps me in check. My new diet, for example, you keep me in check, right? Those are true friends. That's what I'm talking about, because they know exactly how to show support for their friends.
There's friends and then there's allies. Friends are going to tell you what you want to hear, and allies are going to tell you the truth. And you know what the best ally is your fucking enemy, because your opponent, your adversary, is coming after your weaknesses. So what they hate about you, what they're coming after, you know what to work on. Those are the best. But you know, when it comes to accountability, you know, I don't care. And this is amongst respect. This is why I'd rather hang out with 4 eagles and 20 chickens, because if I tell Akira, hey man, you fucked up, it's not personal. You know what I mean? Or, hey, no, you can't do this. Hey, you can do this. Hey, this is a good idea. You know, I've gotten to hot scuffles with my friends before, arguing about shit. All right, fuck you. All right, we're done. And we move on. That's a true ally, a true bro, is but you could say, well, dude, this is not fucking working for you. Maybe think about something else. Well, this is working for me. Well, hold on. Let's look at this. Keeping each other in check and accountable. Not many people can handle that. Friends won't be able to be like, do you? No, you're great. You're doing great. You're doing, because they don't really give a fuck. They'll just tell you that's it.
Yeah. There's a saying that this was made up back like 20 years ago in my college. I don't know if you guys know it. The saying goes, champagne for my real friends and real pain for my sham friends. Food for thought.
My line of work, I deal with a lot of giving people real advice, and some of them can't handle it. But honestly, those are people that haven't come to terms with themselves, and they usually don't last very long anyway. Because I don't know if it's because people can't accept when they fuck up, when they can't accept they're not doing something right. It's one thing to believe in something so much that you're gonna do it your way. I mean, that's one thing. But if you're having trouble and you don't know what's going on, and somebody gives you some advice and you get butthurt, like that's just, and I see a lot of that. It's like, listen, I'm trying to, if I didn't give a fuck about you at all, I would just, you know, go on, keep trying. No, I don't like pussy ass shit. But if I'm really trying to help you, I'm like, hey, you need to quit being a fucking bitch. And you know, dry the fuck up, quit crying over this, whatever. Tell that girl to go fuck herself. You need to get back on track. You know, but then they'll think I'm coming. They'll try to play victim, make me seem like the bad guy. Well, really, I'm like the only motherfucker trying to help them.
Yeah.
Show
some compassion.
You know, Sam. He ain't medical. Sam was. Sometimes you get sidetracked in what you're doing. You don't even realize what you're doing. You know, and he was talking about making like certain TikTok videos, certain this or that. I'm like, dude, you know, this is not going to help you win a championship. If anything, this is going to be a distraction if you're making videos during your workout. And he didn't realize it. Sometimes what you're doing, you don't realize. And a true bro is going to call you out on it and tell you the reality. And that's how you know you can really trust this person. And there was a bodybuilder in Hawaii who I was doing something that's fucked up. I'll admit it. I don't really talk about what it was, but it was fucked up. And at the time, I didn't realize actually what I was doing, because it just seemed I'm an opportunist. So I saw an opportunity, I'm going to strike on it. And it was kind of a fucked up thing. So instead of just sending me an email or giving me a call, hey man, look what you're doing right now. It's a little fucked up right now. And you know, that's not really the way to go about it. I would be like, you know what? I didn't even think about that. You're right. Instead, they write a Facebook message. This is not to anyone specifically. However, if you are doing this, this, and this, it's messed up. I'm like, and I got like 4 emails. Like, yo, why are they talking about it? I'm like, I don't know. Like, and I just blocked them, because if you're that childish to where you're not going to go directly to the person and say, hey, what you're doing is messed up, this is wrong, then I don't want to associate myself with you, period.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's some fucked up shit. If you got a problem, you need to be a man and fucking go and tell them.
Just, if you got a problem with what I'm doing, man up. Just say, man, this is what's going on. Yep. And you know what? Now, I think, honestly, I would think 90% of the world, especially if you're sober, they will respect you for it, or they'll just cut you off immediately. Hey man, sorry. And I tell people I do shit fucked up all the time. I got a big fucking mouth, and people will be like, "Hey man," I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say. I didn't mean to do that. This is just how I'm feeling right now. I apologize," and I move on. And they're like, "Oh, all right. You know, this guy's fucking all right guy." You know,
I do that all the time. Yeah,
and fucking call people out when you need to, right?
Or instead of somebody coming to you with a problem, they try to go behind your back and do some sketchy shit.
Yeah.
Like I cannot fucking stand that shit.
God,
Like,
I hate that.
Yeah, if you can't approach me like a man, fuck you. I mean, I don't like that at all. Like
I had that happen to me. It was the worst thing ever. I got to share this. Okay. I'll tell you this. So there was this guy. This is how fucked up it's gonna get. This was a person I called a blood brother. Okay, let me set that premise. The person I called a blood brother. Funny thing is, he had the same exact name as me. Okay, yeah, same name. And this guy was like, okay. Anyways, the guy came to me one day. He's like, I need help. Picture this. He's older. Okay, it was like an elder brother for me. But he came to me and he said, I need some help. I said, what's up? He says, I need some help. I need to talk to ladies. I'm not able to do it. I'm close to my 40s. Back then I was younger. I'm close to my 40s. I need to fucking get this part of my life in order because I want to get married. I want to settle down and have kids. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll do my best to help you out. Right. So I took this guy around, gave him a spin, told him what to do, said, okay, this is how you need to be. You need to work on yourself internally. I gave him the whole shebang. End of it, this guy goes out, starts practicing. And so I said, okay. And he asked me, he said, I want you to wing me. I said, all right, I'll wing you. So we went out to the club together. I did my thing. This guy, this is what he was doing. For every person I was talking to, he would slide in and start talking to that person. The same person I'm talking to. He would slide in and start talking to that person. I told him, I said, listen, you got to stop doing that shit. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to do your own thing, and I'll watch you from here. You do your own thing. If you need help, I'll come by and wing you. The guy wouldn't have it. He would just come into every interaction I was having, to the point where I got a little pissed off. I said, listen, man, I got to call you out on this shit. You can't be doing this. It's not what I'm trying to tell you. Anyways, fast forward. I thought he got it. He came and apologized to me, blah, blah, blah. He disappears for like 5 days. No idea where he is. I go into a store that's close to a club, and I'm like, I'm trying to buy some shit, and I see these girls standing in front of me, right? They buy stuff, they turn around, and they look at me, and they go, "Hey, aren't you that dude that is a shithead and a dickhead?" I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah, because a friend of mine was telling me about this guy. His name is Akira, and he's going around and he's doing all kinds of nasty things to women in the club. I'm like, that's not me. What are you talking about? Later on, I find out that this guy was shit talking me.
Oh my God.
He threw me under the bus just because he couldn't get what I had. He was so disappointed in himself, that he was so, I would say, he was stewing in his own filth. He was so bitter about it. He went and shit talked me behind my back.
Stay away from those people, man.
Yeah, I dropped him like a potato.
Yeah, it's okay. It's this is the biggest thing, man. I cut a lot of people off, and I'm so much happier with my life. I blocked so many people on Facebook. I've deleted so many people on Instagram. I've cut off people. The snap of my finger, boom, they cease to exist. That's what Thanos. Snap your fingers, boom, they're gone. The moment I realize that they're drama and or toxic or going to interfere with my passions and my relationship, gone immediately. I don't acknowledge them, just gone. And I'm a lot happier for it. I'm a lot able to focus on things that are important to me. My bodybuilding career, my military career, my relationship. Those are the things I value very highly. And the moment I find something or someone that can affect that, I will remove them. Don't have to fight about it. Just got to block and go. That's it. Don't answer phone calls. There's a show on Netflix. I'm going to end with, there's a show on Netflix I really like. It's called Made. And I think you guys should check it out. If you guys are, watching TV at night or something.
What's it called?
It's called Made. It's about this girl leaving a domestic violent relationship. And she can't seem to get the toxicity out of her life. But in a way, I think she attracts it. She goes back to it. And I think it's a mental thing. Like, some people attract toxicity. And when something good is put in front of them, like here's a good thing going for you, they'll just say, no, I can't have this because I'm unworthy of this. I can only get the toxic. And a lot of people have that. You got to avoid those people like a fucking plague. Those are the people that are going to make your self-worth go down, because you could care about somebody who is drama, toxic, and be like, hey, I like this person. I want to help this person. Then they push you away. Then they go for asshole B. And you're like, what the fuck's wrong with me? Believe me, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. It is all on them. True. That is all I have to say.
All right. On that note, Akira, you got anything else?
No, I think I said what I got to say.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Join us on Saturdays and go subscribe to our new channel. You will see more content come up. And I'll see you guys next time.